Hi Brian.
Hey.
Hi. How you doing?
Good.
Before we go into your solo album, I have a question about the group Folk Singers.
Okay.
Your mom was in it. Have you heard maybe recordings by them, or
I think so. Yeah, when I was a kid.
what was it like? Was it what sort of music was it?
I mean, it was folk music.
Yeah. Were there songs written by themselves, or?
I don't think so. I think they were like covers. I think a lot of the Bob Dylan's first record was, I think, all covers too,
Yeah.
almost except for one or two.
And was your mother singing? Was it important for you while growing up, or was it something that was not really into?
Oh no, I'm sure it was important. Like the singing around the house and the, like just being around it. I'm sure influenced, what I did and things like that. Because just being in the presence of music all the time, sort of like said, all right, that's there.
Yeah.
That's kind of in the fabric of everything. When you're young, you're learning a lot. You're sort of absorbing everything.
What music was played in the house? Because you were born in 1980, and I think she sang in that band in the 60s or in the 70s.
The 60s.
What sort of music was playing around the house? Was it folk music, or was it
Yeah,
more
folk music? Not too much rock and roll. A little bit rock and roll. Like not too much early on. It was mostly folk music and hymns, like church hymns. Like so that was really it. That kind of thing.
And when you started making music yourself, did you begin over there, folk music, or was it just your own taste immediately?
I mean, it probably was a mixture of both. When the first music that I really tried to get into when I started playing was folk music, but it was also mixed in with other things too. But I always started with an acoustic guitar. I'm from a small town. I didn't have like a band when I was young, so. Yeah, I would say that that's always been like the focus, is the songwriting kind of thing, because it's just what was around, and that's what I probably gravitated to naturally first.
And did you start playing in Red Bank, or was it in Hackettstown?
In Hackettstown, I was right after we moved. When I was in Red Bank, right when we moved, that's when I probably started getting into guitar. But it was, it was funny because when I was learning the guitar, it was probably 1991, so it was right when Nirvana and Guns N' Roses and Pearl Jam. Yeah. So I was very interested in that.
Why?
Well, because that was the music that I discovered on my own. It was the first music that I was hearing that was like, oh, it's pretty good. But that was a lot. It was advanced, for me. Like learning how to play guitar, like a Pearl Jam record's impossible to play when you're just starting out. Same with Guns N' Roses. So Nirvana had, like Something in the Way and like About a Girl and those more folk songs. And then they did the Unplugged series, was very big on MTV at the time. Yeah. So I started watching all the artists do like Unplugged. And that kind of joined what my mom had shown me in folk music to rock and roll. Because I saw Pearl Jam, and I also saw Bob Dylan and Eric Clapton doing, the folk thing, and Nirvana, and all the bands that did it. So that sort of put the puzzle together for me, and I went, oh, you can write these songs like this, and then it sort of joined everything, and that's when I probably started writing my own songs. But the first time that I heard Bob Dylan was the first time that I realized, oh, that's how you write songs. It's what?
Do you still recall what song you heard or what album?
Yeah, it was Just Like a Woman. Bob Dylan, Just Like a Woman. I heard that song on the radio, and I said to my mom, who's it? Because I was trying to figure out how to write songs. I remember I was listening probably to Guns N' Roses or Nirvana or Pearl Jam in the headphones, and I took them out to talk to my mom or something, and we were in the car, and Bob Dylan's Just Like a Woman came on the radio. And I said, who's this? And she said, that's Bob Dylan. How do you not know that? She's like, you should know that. I didn't. But that's when I first realized, because all the like deedly guitar solos. I couldn't do any of that stuff. I was like, this is impossible. I'm never gonna write songs. But when I heard Bob Dylan, it was just the guitar and the vocal and the harmonica, and he couldn't even really sing that well. And that's where, like, the gates opened, and I went, oh, this is what I need to do.
What year is this?
This was probably 1990 or 1991.
And what did you do when you first had that realization? Did you go into his songwriting, or?
Yeah, I went and got all my mom's cassettes, and I looked for all the ones that had folk songs, and the rock and roll ones I just threw out.
How important was this for your mom?
I don't know. I never asked her.
Must be, I mean, for her, it must be really, well, fun to see, and maybe even,
I'm sure it was, because
yeah.
she had like Cat Stevens,
Yeah.
and Joan Baez, and Bob Dylan, and what else? Leonard Cohen, like the really cool stuff. And she had like maybe the Eagles a little bit, but like the songwriters, and actually, funny enough, the Indigo Girls, like big. I dug through those records, and they taught me harmonies, and the band.
Yeah.
That was on Peter, Paul, and Mary, that kind of stuff, and I was just digging through all of it, like. I would listen to the cassettes not knowing what they were.
Yeah.
So I would listen to, and if it was anything rock and roll, I don't need that. But I needed an acoustic guitar and a voice. I was like, if it has that, I'm going to listen to it.
And how long did you delve into this?
I'm still delving into it,
And but
still.
But when did you include rock and roll again?
Oh, maybe like 14, 15.
And what did you do, let's say, in those first few years that you actually just listened to folk music? What did you do with your own music playing or songwriting? Did you write songs?
I probably tried. I don't think I wrote complete songs, though.
Yeah.
Not yet. That was probably maybe 14 or 15. Started to write complete songs.
And when did you, was it around the time you made the transition to rock, including rock again?
No. I was listening to rock. I mean, I never stopped listening. There's always been a difference to me between listening and studying.
Yeah.
So the records that I study are different than the records that I listen to.
Okay.
And when you're studying something, you need a break. So what I would use is rock and roll, and I discovered punk music at the time. That was my break. That was what I listened to for enjoyment, and the folk records were what I listened to study. And then I started to see the parallel between some of the punk rockers, like the Replacements. They had a couple acoustic songs. The Clash had they had the reggae songs. So that showed me the parallel. And then I'm trying to think who else too. There's not Johnny Thunders. That showed me a different side, like that kind of stuff. A lot of the New York stuff, and that kind of gave me more of a horizon into what was going on. And then when I found the jam and that stuff, that was really big. That was okay, this is...
Why?
Because it was the mixture between.
Yeah.
The jam essentially was a punk band, but there was songs.
Yeah.
They wrote songs the same way Bob Dylan wrote songs.
Yeah.
It was the same kind of thing, and the Clash too. Same. If you took a Clash song and broke it down, it's the same.
Yeah.
Same as Bob Dylan, same as all that stuff. And then I got Billy Bragg and all that, and then I really was like, oh, okay, I got it. I was like, this is where the world is getting wider for me.
You said you got it. What did you get regarding to songwriting? What did you?
I got it that the fundamentals of the songwriting were all the same,
Okay.
and that it was just the dressings that were different. So the difference between I got the Clash and Johnny Cash at the same time. So the Johnny Cash records that I was listening to, and I could say Bob Dylan did this, Johnny Cash did this, but it's just country, but it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's the same music, it's just played a little different.
Yeah.
And the Clash is the same as Johnny Cash and the same as Bob Dylan, just played a little different.
Yeah.
So that's when I started to realize that a lot of music all came from the same spot. It was just how you dress it up, the details.
Yeah, and the dressing up, was it hard for you to do?
No, because like I knew that you could mold songs. Like again with that MTV Unplugged thing, I could see how when you watch Nirvana go and play a loud song and then they change it to be an acoustic thing, that's how I could see it was just different, and I could pull those songs together. So it sort of happened quickly.
Is it then for you, because sometimes people say, well, a song is good when you can play it acoustically and it's still good. Is it for you too, or do certain songs only need to be played loud? And
I don't know if that's true, because there's a lot of music that's created, maybe, because like a lot of the DJ songs that I think are good, if you take a Calvin Harris song, you can play that on the piano.
Yeah.
You can absolutely play it and sing it on the piano.
Yeah.
And I think, you can play it on the guitar. I've done it. Like I've played that song "Sweet Nothings" that he does. I've done that. And I don't know, because there's a lot of there's like industrial music that I don't know if you could play on a guitar. No, it's not true, because that would eliminate hip hop.
Yeah.
So no, I don't think it has to be that way. Because I'm more of like I like everything as far as I like anything that's creative and sincere. So to the kid who's inventing a new style as we speak right now that we don't know about yet, like I think that's just as valid as Bob Dylan. I'm not like a purist with that kind of thing.